All right. Well, thank you everybody for joining us tonight. I'm going to go ahead and get started by first introducing our guest speakers tonight. I'm super excited to have them both here. We have Kim Ashley, who's the director of Motive Skincare and Layered, and she's been dedicated to building and growing Market America's beauty division for over 10 years. And we also have Dr. Deidre Mason, or Dr. D, and she is a licensed naturopathic physician for over 20 years. And she is also the director of nutraMetrix and clinical education. And I know that they were both very involved with developing these two amazing products that we're going to talk about tonight. So welcome, you two.
Thanks so much.
Thank you. Super excited to be here and talk about these.
I 100% agree. I'm super passionate about what we get to talk about tonight because we're going to kind of break some myths. We're going to definitely uncover some superpowers of these products. And I think that's what's really going to make the difference in everything from application to why do I want it and why is it going to be meaningful in my life? I just love that kind of idea. Like, why do you need this in your life? And I think we've got some great answers between Kim and I and our panelists.
Yeah, so we've been getting a lot of feedback since the launch of these two products, and it's all positive feedback. And I totally understand why, because they're incredible. And if you haven't gotten them, tonight is the night to get them. But why don't we start by talking about a little bit about the Gelée? What do you think, Dr. D?
Sure. Let's start with this powerhouse. You got it.
Yeah. So, the Gelée is something special. I don't know, Dr. D, if you want to tell a little bit of why it's in the Gelée form and what makes it special because of the type of formula it is.
Sure. So, the Gelée form, I mean, you guys, at the end of the day, it's a very unique application, right? So out of the gate, it's very novel to people that are used to serums and creams. But one of the things that's important to speak to about this very light Gelée is that it has the ability to penetrate deep into the skin because of the nature of not just the active ingredient, but some of the supporting cast that's in this product. So I want to back up just for a minute because the Gelée itself is part of the delivery system. So while it is novel and someone, is going to touch and feel that and really like not just the appearance of it, the kind of, the sexiness of this ingredient because of what it looks like. It's just going to be like, I've never seen something like this before. This is exciting. What's it going to be like? You should also know that the Gelée is the fact that it's in this form is actually part of its delivery system. It actually is a patented delivery system called a Aquaxyl. And that's unique because it penetrates or helps the active ingredients in this product penetrate deeper into the skin. And at the end of the day, you guys, isn't that what we get excited about? We want our products to work, but we want to also make sure that they're getting to the areas that are critically important to address as we age. When we're younger women, when we're younger men, we tend to have more suppleness to our skin. There's literally, I'm so happy that you're here because, you can speak to thickness of the skin when we're younger is it's appreciable. And as we age, we start to notice thinning of the skin. Part of that's due to hydration, a lack of. Part of it's due to a lack of actual what are called trophic factors or growth factors. Listen, ladies, as your progesterone goes down, as your estrogen goes down, as your blood sugar and your insulins do this, right? We miss out on some of the factors that can keep youth amongst us, right? We have more oxidative stress when sugars go up. So you want something that can deal with oxidative stress in the skin. We have issues with thinning skin. So we want something that's built for developing and reorganizing those skin layers. We want something that's going to be appropriate across all of our ages of skin, right? We want to kind of recapture that youth. And that's exactly what this particular delivery system does. The Aquaxyl is shown to maximize hydration. So now what we're talking about is individuals with dry skin. We're talking about individuals that are have age-related skin concerns, right? Just simply a nature of age. We're talking about individuals that maybe haven't treated their skin so well, right? So what we're going to do with this special technique is be able to lock in hydration. But, I want to get more in depth into some of the other ingredients, specifically the AstaReal astaxanthin that's in this product, because Aquaxyl all by itself would have been brilliant for stopping water loss. It would have been brilliant for building up and reorganizing the skin layers. But one of the things that's very special about it, mixed with the AstaReal astaxanthin, is that the Aquaxyl actually helps with proteins in the skin, not just to kind of pull hydration down and allow it to build up those skin barriers, but now with pulling AstaReal astaxanthin through the skin, because of the reorganization of the top layer of the skin, the corneum, we can actually get deeper penetration of astaxanthin into those skin layers. And that's magical by itself. But what's truly magical is the fact that astaxanthin communicates throughout all layers of the skin. And that's something that's really unfounded in topical antioxidant, SkinCeuticals. It's something that's really quite unheard of. But the literal nature of astaxanthin is that it's antioxidant, it has an antioxidant tail and head, can penetrate through skin layers and communicate with all of the other important antioxidants in your skin, like vitamin C, like vitamin E, like beta carotene. And you guys, Coenzyme Q10. Did you know that Coenzyme Q10 is part of a factor that helps with healthy cell regeneration, right? So whether we're talking about, I want one arm of my astaxanthin to speak to collagen production, right? Pair it with vitamin C. I want the astaxanthin to act as a barrier function from all of this oxidative stress, not just on a superficial layer, but actually through reorganization of the skin, pulling it in to the skin. I want something that's going to help me with hydration. I don't know if you know this, everyone, but astaxanthin is algae. And algae, just think of algae right now, slippery, full of water, right? It itself is a little celluloid of hydration. So now think about that penetrating into your skin, and then put it with a magical delivery in this gelée with the Aquaxyl that helps with that water hydration, that reorganization, but also helping with hyaluronic acid production in the skin. So now what we've got is a magic combination of this delivery system: hydration, antioxidant protection, and penetration deep into the skin. It's truly a magical super gelée.
Yes.
Thank you for letting me, because I'm long-winded, but you guys, the pieces of this are so exciting, and it all came together for us, Kim. It all came together for us.
Really did. And I think that's what makes it even more special, is that we were able to come out with something that we connected with the beginning manufacturer. This has originated by a company called Fujifilm in Japan. And we were actually able to work directly with the people who give this source of astaxanthin to this brand of AstaReal products. So we are the first to have it in the States. There are other things on the market, but it's not the same delivery system, and it's not produced by the same people that started this. And I think that is even more important to point out to your customer, that we're one of the first.
Well, and I think that Kim's really nailed something there, because it's not just the brand power behind Fuji, right? It's not just it's big that it's the location of Japan, which is considered the hub, right? The birthplace, the origin of SkinCeuticals. If you want cosmetic support, if you want an age management solution, Japan Innovation is one of the places you go to look, right? So the product is innovative in that sense. In the delivery that I talked about, innovative in the sense of the sourcing of the ingredient. But I don't want this to get missed. AstaReal, astaxanthin, is one of the most clinically evidenced antioxidants in the natural marketplace. It is the provider of the research for astaxanthin research. So when people when we think of household names, right? Xerox, Kodak, Kleenex, right? We think of brand names that now it's not even just a brand name, it's an item, right? No one says, please hand me a facial tissue, right? They say, no, hand me a Kleenex, right? So that's what AstaReal is in the astaxanthin market. It is that household name because they did the heavy lifting in the research. And that is the ingredient that we sourced at the heart of, at the core of, right, of the research is that ingredient. There are, like Kim mentioned, Me Too products that will use antioxidant research based on the algae, but they're not using the actual ingredient that was used in those studies. And that's one of the magical things is we're not just using the ingredient used in the study, we're using the amount they used in the study, milligram dose wise.
And I think that's also something special about our company, is just how we take pride in making sure that when we develop products that we're not just making a claim, but that we can hold to it, and we stand behind what we're selling. So this is just another example of our company going in deep and finding things that we can stand behind that actually holds up to what it can do. I know everybody's asking kind of what's the routine and how should I fit this into my regimen? And we want to go over all of that, So it's a gelée, and a gelée is not a cream, but it's not a serum. It's that middleman, right? So the big thing to remember that I always tell people is we always go lightest to thickest, right? And I know it gets a little complicated sometimes because you're probably looking at your serum and thinking, oh, it's clear, it looks light, but this gelée is a little cleared, it looks light too, right? But that's not the way to go about it. So, when you get the product and you actually feel it and touch it, you can tell that it's more substantial.
Right. It's going to stand up. Right.
A serum will kind of, fall, that sort of thing. But this is like a cream almost, but it's a gelée. This is the size, you guys. It does not take much. All right. So pea size amount.
Right.
And when you're applying it, I always tell people, to kind of tap it on their face. You're not rubbing your face. It's not a moisturizer. It's like a cream moisturizer. Doesn't need to be, rubbed into the skin, but kind of tap it through the face and, feel it around. When I use it, and I think I have very dry skin, I notice it kind of, it almost feels like I'm firming whenever I use it. It's weird, but I think it's because my skin is drier. Not everybody's skin is as dry, right? So you're going to feel a little different as you use it, depending on where you're located. If there's more humid or if your skin in general is more oily, it may not feel as dry to your skin. But the big thing to remember about this product is we recommend using it morning and night, twice a day. You're going to see the best results whenever you're using it twice a day. And when you use it before you apply your moisturizer, whether that be your matte moisturizer, your rejuvenation cream. Use it before that and make sure it's dry. What is it, Dr. D? Do some, squats.
You got to do body weight squats while while your serums are drying, while your moisturizers are drying, before you apply in between treatments, those sorts of things. You just need to get some physical movement in there as well. And that's one of the best ways.
So, if you're using it in the morning, like my big thing right now is I'm really into our new vitamin C as well. So I like to start with the vitamin C in the morning after I've cleansed and toned. And I give it time to dry, especially if I'm going to be putting makeup on, that sort of thing. You want to make sure this stuff is really drying in your skin. So I'll go make a cup of coffee, things like that. Maybe I should do some, little lunges or something, but I choose coffee. And then once it's dry, I go ahead and I place my pea size amount. And my pea size amount goes all over my face, under my eyes. I don't put it on top of my eyes, but I put it around the eye area and under. And it does not replace my eye cream that I use.
Right.
FYI. And then after I let this dry, I apply my moisturizer and sunscreen typically during the day, not so much moisturizer. I do one or the other. And then I do my makeup application. And then at nighttime, it's the serum concentrate for me. And then a pea-sized amount of this good stuff. And then I will do my moisturizer and end with my elixir, my Renewal elixir, because again, I have dry skin. I think the big thing that everyone needs to know is you got to figure out what your skincare needs are, right? So are you dry? Are you dehydrated? That sort of thing. But what I love about this product is everybody can utilize it. It's not for just dehydrated or oily or acne prone. It's really for everybody. Antioxidants are an incredible thing and everybody can use it, especially on our face, right?
Right. I think I'm really happy that you brought that up, Kim, because I think many people are, beyond what order do I use it? Can I mix it with anything? Is there anything it doesn't play well with, and normally when we get concerned about things playing well with each other, it's because we haven't allowed our serums, our elixirs, our moisturizers to dry. And, what we want is them to be able to penetrate into the skin. And of course, this one you're going to find penetrates really quickly. It's one of the reasons why, Kim, you had mentioned that you felt like it's almost firming, right? Now, part of that has to do with, some other active ingredients in the product. Much of it has to do with how quickly clinically they've been able to show that this ingredient can penetrate the skin. They've done studies as quickly to follow faces and have been able to show improved hydration by measuring limited water loss from the skin in as quickly as 8 hours. Now, obviously, that's not the fast firming that Kim is talking about, but I do want you to appreciate how quickly someone that says she has dry skin would notice could notice some of the hydration benefits. It's one of the benefits that they talk about where there's this micro relief. It's not just about line depth, line length, but it's also about, okay, right now, do me a favor, picture an elephant, right? Picture all the cracking of the skin, right? Picture a desert, right? The cracking of the skin. Some of that, whether we call it a micro relief, a micro irritation, that kind of thing, we get real quick benefit from using this. And, I think that there's a lot of people with some micro irritation, maybe even something that's more moderate, problematic for them. Kim, everyone that has limited their use of products, they're very apprehensive about putting something on their skin. And so I'm really glad that you brought up, Kim, the idea that, whether we're talking about a hydration, the humectant nature of the other active ingredients, whether we're talking about aging skin and hydration or just naturally that's your skin. We're talking about the oxidative stress from whether it's sugar in our diet, coffee in our diet, alcohol in our diet, sun exposure, right? the nature of we're just simply getting into that season where things are drying out for many people. And that's why I appreciate what you said, is this product really tells that story for everybody. You want an antioxidant, you want something with humectant benefits, the hydration benefits, and age management benefit. You're concerned about what you're putting on your skin. So you want it to not just be as clean as possible. You also want it to be truly a therapy. And this product tells that story over and over and over again, so that when, in answer to your question, Kim, or answer to the question that you put out there, which is, are you using products that are good for your skin today? Like, as it is today, are you using the right regimen? And what we find is that this astaxanthin can be that common ingredient, right? It can be that common thread. It can be that, I think I want to use the word equalizer. It can be that equalizer for so many people,
Right.
as they see their skin has a season to it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the important thing. I also feel like if you're skeptical of the product, if maybe you have more sensitive skin, I always recommend people to try a little bit behind their ear or underneath their neck, just somewhere where it's not going to be noticeable if they're unsure of the product, right? So don't be afraid to give it a try if that's what you're worried about. It definitely is a great addition to the product, to your regimen. The other thing I want to point out to people, I don't know if y'all noticed, it came with a metal seal on the top of it. I'd keep that on the top of it, right? It's a protectant. It's protecting from light and things like that. It's almost like a vitamin C, when light air hits something, they start to change color because of the light and air. That's why, it's in a brown bottle or it's in a airtight sealed container. So remember, to keep that on there. And the other thing is to use the little spatula. That is what is going to measure it out. If you threw it away, just hurry up and use the product. It won't be hard. It's not going to damage it, but for the future, understand that there is a reason that seal's on there. It's that extra protection. And then using your spatula, that little area in the spatula is literally what you get out. And also to keep from contaminating your product, right?
Mm-hmm.
I noticed that people are still a little confused about the order of application. So it's serums first, you guys, after you cleanse and tone. And then it would be your gelée. And then it would be your moisturizer. And you can put moisturizer on first or your eye balm. However, I know Lee says that she uses her eye balm first, I believe. That way she knows where to stop. But I've always used my eye balm after. So it's, potato, patata. It's really on that how you feel comfortable applying. And then, of course, to finish with that elixir. That's
and I just want to hop in there too, as like a, layman's terms or an average consumer. I think what I'm getting from you both is that this is a great product for every individual, whereas some of our serums and treatments are targeted for specific concerns or skin types. So this is great for every individual. And if you currently aren't using an active serum or treatment, then you could simply cleanse, tone, the gelée, and then your moisturizer. So everyone's order may be a little bit different because of what your regimen is. I noticed there was a lot of confusion too, Kim, in the chat and some of the estheticians were ones commenting on using it first. So I don't know if you guys have any insight, are there other brands that have like a gelée? I don't know. I think there's still a lot of confusion on this because it is a really sheer texture. So maybe explaining, I guess, I don't know if it's a different delivery system, Dr. D, because I know I heard you mention it penetrates like 7 layers of the skin.
Right. It has the potential, right, to move through the layers because astaxanthin can literally pull itself. And the aquaxyl in this opens up particular gated channels, protein channels that can help, called aquaporins, that actually can help pull it through. And so we actually did have the opportunity not just to speak to the manufacturer, but also one of the research scientists behind astaxanthin and skin. And where that leveled out was, and I'm glad that Lisa, you brought it up the way that you did, is not everyone's using a treatment serum, making this a completely appropriate after cleansing and toning solution. And are you still going to be able to get that pulling through the skin? Absolutely. But what we were able to learn was that the serums, I mean, one of the questions actually that literally came back was, well, how are you going to decide which serum to use? Right. Because the difference between them weight wise, like some of this is preference, some of this is, I feel better this way. Kim, you had mentioned that you feel that tightness right away. I think like the visceral response, the like, oh, I like that response is definitely going to be something that drives the consumer, drives the user. But one of the things that we did get clarification on is that this astaxanthin, because of the aquoxyl, this astaxanthin topical gelée can pull itself through those serums.
Awesome. I love that. Okay. So that should clear it up. Like there's still questions in chat popping through, but just know that. Okay. So you want to cleanse. And then Kim mentioned if you're layering different serums and treatments, she gave the example of the vitamin C, because that's so sheer and it dries and penetrates so fast. You would do that before, say, a needle-free, which has a little bit of a thicker texture. And that would be before like the super cream, because this is a treatment that is almost like a moisturizer.
Yep.
So we do have a really great sales aid, which is a regimen guide for the entire Lumière de Vie system. And it numbers in order of all the existing treatments and serums. We don't have the Gelée updated. I think it's in the process of being updated. Yeah. But like Dr. D and Kim are both verifying, this would be after all those serums, because of the integrity of the product or the delivery system. It is able to penetrate through those existing products and still be super effective. The other thing that Kim was pointing out, depending on your skin type, is you may feel like, I actually have more of an oily skin and I do feel it tighten and firm a little bit as well. And maybe part of that is just because you're patting versus like rubbing. Then moisturize. So you always want to seal in all your treatments with a moisturizer. And then some of you are asking about the elixir, which I happen to love as well. But this is not a serum or a treatment. It's a very different product and it's meant to go after your moisturizer. Okay. So just trying to keep it simple for all of you, but we learned a lot of science on the AstaReal astaxanthin, and I hope we understand why our product is, a superior quality. To Kim's point, like if you look at clinical studies, we're always going to have at least the amount, that it's studied on to get the desired results, if not more. And then usually we're pairing that with so many other high quality, amazing science-based ingredients as well. So we have the same sort of concept with the AstaReal astaxanthin, but in this Renewal hand and body cream. Yeah. So let's talk about this one.
Yeah, so this is pretty special as well. I love this product. I love the scent. I didn't know that I would like a rose scent that as much as I did, but it's kind of my new favorite thing. I love how it smells after. So a little bit about this product is, I know a lot of people have asked, when do you use it? Is it to replace your body cream, or do you use it together? And to answer that question, this is a treatment for your entire body, right? So for your hand and your body, the things that we typically don't think of, I feel like we're always talking about our face and our décolleté, but we forget about, we have skin everywhere else, right? So this is something that you would use 2 to 3 times a week. Now, I will tell you, since we've been washing our hands a lot more and all of that, I have been using it nightly on my hands. It's definitely, but for the whole body, 2 to 3 times a week. And it replaces your body cream when you use it that night, right? So you don't need to use both. You would use one or the other. And you would use this sporadically, whereas the body cream is more of your daily.
Exactly. You get the same benefits of the AstaReal astaxanthin in this case. So we have to remember that the entire body and all of our skin layers are at the mercy of oxidative stress. And one of the things to pay attention to is that oxidative stress doesn't just come from light pollution. It doesn't just come from air pollution. It doesn't come from the new to nature molecules that are in your food and your water, right? It's not limited to that. You actually create free radicals. It's part of what we call cellular aging. And to arrest cellular aging, to arrest oxidative stress inside the body, right? Again, another reason why we may see modeling to the skin. We may, of course, see the thickness of the skin start to thin out. That's just a nature of decline in hormones. We start to see thinning of skin. These may be areas, this may be a situation where you feel like from a vascular standpoint that you want to make the skin appear more supple. You would like more smoothness in the skin. This is not an anti-cellulite cream. It's not that kind of thing. But from a hydration standpoint, from a smoothness standpoint, from that protection from oxidative stress, we still get the same benefits with this product of that AstaReal astaxanthin.
Yes.
Awesome. Love that. So, and honestly, I think a lot of people overlook the fact that a lot of times people ask questions and I'm like, read the package or, the box, or of course our website has so much information as well, but it does note that you can use it a few times a week. So this is more like a treatment or an active serum or so for your body. It doesn't necessarily replace your moisturizer.
Right.
Okay.
And can I just say that I love the fact that we are now having treatments for our body. I mean, people look at our face and say, this is where our treatment stops, but really it's our entire skin on our body. So I love that Dr. Dee and Kim have come up with something that we're not just on trend. Can I tell you guys, we are ahead of trend. And that's phenomenal for this company to have something like this that you can use as a treatment 2 to 4 times a week, I believe is what they're saying. But right before the moisturizer, and especially for women my age, they tend to have that smaller cutaneous fat laying there. And I'm used to doing so much of the facials and things. And now that I'm not doing as many skincare treatments, I have wings. Now I understand what that means. Dr. D, I have been doing this in between my serums, I promise.
This.
Yes.
Arm circles like this.
Yes.
That's what you do.
That's funny. And I mean, listen, I know, Vina, you say because of your age and all that, but it's never too late to start either. I almost wish that we had these products and I was in on all of this whenever I was 21, so it's just about
getting too late, never too early, right?
Right. There you go. Never too early. And now it's never too late. Right. So it's about getting on that bandwagon and doing what's good, not only for your inside that we promote, but also for the outside as well. That makes you feel good.
So a lot of questions is more better. So let's say we wanted to use this every single night all over our body. Is that okay? Or should we stick to the 2 to 4 times?
Of course it's okay. It's not a problem, but it might get a little expensive.
Yeah. Hey, more BV, more money,
Right. Well, you bring up, I want to mention something that Kim had said, not just about the gelée, but also about anything that has astaxanthin in it, whether you threw away your foil, or you want to, and in answer to Lisa's question about using, is that too much? Is that going to be a problem? Astaxanthin has a very unique quality about it. It cannot oxidize. So while you put you want the foil in there, that's because one of the ways that we keep the whole thing stable is underneath a nitrogen shell. And then you just trap as much of the, you make it as airtight as possible. But in the point to Kim mentioning it's still going to work, that is one of the superpowers of astaxanthin, is that it does not oxidize. So while the gelée may change color, while the gelée may change form a little bit, we may see something along those lines. The astaxanthin stays incredibly active as a result of its nature. It's an incredibly stable molecule. That being said, to Lisa's question, how much, or the group's question, how much can you use, is more better. Not in this case. That's one of the things that I want to point out, is that we use the amount that were used in studies. So orally, yes, more astaxanthin orally is proven to be beneficial, but it is not necessary to double up on this. Although there are other glycolipids in here. So from the suppleness of the skin, you would get those benefits, but you're also going to get those from your regular Lumière body cream. So there's no need to fully replace it.
I love that. Good to know. And I'm like so loving the After Sun Glow and Renew. So don't let that name think that you can only use it in the summer, because I honestly think for winter it's an amazing moisturizer, because it gives like that soft, healthy glow to your skin, and it does feel amazing. I love it.
That product does feel amazing. I never go out in the sun. You can tell that I'm vampire colored. I'm translucent, and I didn't think I was going to like the glow nature of it. I thought I was going to feel like I was wearing a bronzer next to my skin. But it really does create a vibrance in the skin, just a glow to you that doesn't look like you applied bronzer or anything, obviously, because it wasn't created that way. But it also goes on, like most of the Lumière de Vie moisturizers, is activating them in your skin. They feel incredibly luxurious going on the body, on the face, on the chest. There's that sense of you feel the activity in them from that. But then there's, like Lisa's saying, there's that added benefit, because we thought of those things. I can't take credit for that one, but things like that were thought of, like long-term benefits of this product, added value benefits of this product. That glow is an incredible, incredible product.
That's awesome.
Absolutely. So I think it's important also, Dr. D, to talk a little bit about, with our skincare items, how much more of a benefit you will see with the astaxanthin products by using some of our nutraceuticals.
That's probably the way, Kim, I'm glad that you heard that, because that's probably what I should have picked up on in part of Lisa's questions about is more better. Because one of the ways that you can amplify your skincare regimen is to also be using collagen or astaxanthin orally. Now, astaxanthin is available in a 6 milligram amount. Now, that's more than what is put into the topicals, because that's what's necessary from an oxidative free radical activity that goes on in the body. So cardiovascular wise, eye vision wise, fitness wise, skin, orally, 6 milligrams is what the clinical studies showed. And it's available in an isotonic form, in a cold water soluble form, as well as, which is a vegan product. So there's no concern there. Obviously it's algae, but then there's no capsule around it like there is in the Prime line, where there's a gelatin. It's easy soluble gelatin, but it's gelatin, right? So that's not suitable for a vegetarian or a vegan lifestyle, but the same clinically evidenced amount of 6 milligrams is in the oral. And so one of the ways that we are able to allow these two to meet through the skin is obviously through oral penetration and absorption, the nature of restructuring from within, dampening down oxidative or free radical damage from within, while the topicals are able to penetrate. I had mentioned early on that astaxanthin, because of the way it's shaped, this is now the universal symbol for how it's shaped. Because of how it's shaped, it can move through both sides of a cell. So it can fit both outside and inside a cell. That is what allows it to protect you from oxidative stress from the outside world. But it's also what allows it to communicate with other nutrients that are really important for the skin. Well, the same thing is happening on the inside, is that is able to communicate from the inside as well. And we see this maximum approach. But part of what's happening in there are other antioxidants like the vitamin E, like vitamin C, like beta carotene, like coenzyme Q10. If you don't know this, coenzyme Q10 is an anti-aging antioxidant. Now, most antioxidants are considered anti-aging, but what's unique about coenzyme Q10 is that it's inside the cell. And it is what is allowing little batteries in each and every one of your cells to function at their highest capacity. So what that means is that your skin is not running on low batteries. Your cells are not running on low batteries, right? So you have healthy, vibrant, dynamic cells because of the activation or amplification of astaxanthin with coenzyme Q10. So whether you take them both orally or you just take astaxanthin topically and orally, so that your body's natural production of coenzyme Q10 can get a kick, can get that benefit. When you amplify coenzyme Q10, you also get not just age management or energy benefits, but there's a relationship between coenzyme Q10, sugar balance, hyaluronic acid. From an age management standpoint, literature believes that astaxanthin, collagen, coenzyme Q10, astaxanthin, collagen, and coenzyme Q10 are magical together. They believe that when you look at the literature, that's very much a trifecta for age management, if the way we're measuring that is through skin health.
Good to know. That's awesome.
Yeah, and I want to maybe invite, Vina or any other estheticians on, what do you all see? I know we just launched it, so maybe you've had a chance to use it, but of course my mind's always going to, how do we position ourselves uniquely in the marketplace? These are cutting edge products. They're creme de la creme. There are other astaxanthin products out there. We did learn that we have the AstaReal astaxanthin, like the real deal, high quality. So we're used to that with our products. We know that not all products are created equal, and ours are always of highest quality with the best ingredients. So I'm just kind of curious myself, because I'm still learning on how do we, see ourselves being able to implement this in like a B2B standpoint or with an average consumer. Would it be safe to say that this is, so effective and powerful, maybe they don't need to layer as many serums as they've been using, or, certainly Kim and Dr. D, if you have advice on that too, but kind of switching from science to more like, consumer data or even marketing and selling, what would some tips be for that?
I mean, the first one I want to pull out is the very small amount of the gelée that you have to use. That pea-sized amount. I mean, you've seen the container, right? So the value really comes down to the number of applications in the unit, in the actual container itself. That's going to add to that value beyond AstaReal. I think that it's important, and I think I'm shared with this, that, I think I'm in good company, that when you let somebody feel something, smell something, right? In the case of nutraceuticals, taste something, you see a big improvement. And yeah, I see myself doing that. I think I can do that. I think that the unique nature of the jelly, the ease of saying it tells the antioxidant story, the hydration story, the age management story, the why is my skin so pissed off all the time story, right?
Right.
I think it tells so many stories that we don't have to, in this situation, we don't have to ask who is the right client for the AstaReal jelly. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's kind of also one of those items that maybe it is a beginner, somebody who hasn't really been using a skincare regimen, but they know they need something with anti-aging benefits or something that offers hydration. So maybe you're recommending, you know, cleanser and toner from any of our lines, and then the moisturizer from any of our lines, but there's one treatment product that you want them to get started in. I think that this is a good starting point for someone new. And then they end up loving it and probably adding more to it once they realize, okay, maybe I need a little bit of the fading fluid because I have redness, or maybe I need the serum concentrate because I need to be more hydrated, or, you know, the retinol because I am aging and I want more anti-aging benefits. Does that make sense? So it's good to mix it with other lines, with Cellular Labs, with Timeless, with Skintelligence. It doesn't all have to be in one brand. That's what makes our special.
That's such a good point. Yeah, I think people need, like, I feel like we often say that in this division of beauty, but I hope that we'll say it again because it's so important, Kim, that, you know, the products are designed to work synergistically together. So if you love your Cell Labs value system and you're doing cleanse, tone, moisturize, and you want to start adding this to your regimen, that's awesome. But I think you just answered a good question for me, because I was telling Kim earlier, I was at the dentist and my dental hygienist we were just small talking, and I told her that I work in the, you know, skincare and beauty space. And she was like, oh my gosh, can you help me? We're all struggling so much with our skin with these masks. And is that a thing? Like, I feel like a hormonal teenager without this breakout. I'm like, no, it's a very real thing. It's from wearing the mask all day. It's breathing in it. It's the physical abrasion of it, you know, all these things. But I love that I invited her to join us tonight. And I love that we have education because, and there are estheticians like Vina and I've seen other individuals do it too, where they do free workshops to kind of explain on those solutions. And of course, we have incredible classes that you can plug into too. So I think with these, just don't overcomplicate them. They're cutting edge. They're great for everybody. Whereas some of the other ones, you have to be more targeted on who to recommend which products to. So that makes a lot of sense. Anyone else want to?
Yeah, we have other estheticians on. I'd love to hear.
Yeah,
from
I want to.
them.
They're doing.
Dina, I'm surprised you've been quiet this long.
Yeah.
I know, right? We do have a lot of amazing estheticians on as well, but I'm going to tell you the anti-inflammatory properties of this product. Mm-hmm. Listen, if I had a dime for every time someone said that they had not just sensitive skin, but that their skin was inflamed all the time or redness, and especially with like you were saying, Lisa, a lot of people are wearing masks right now. So to have not only an ingredient that's going to help with the anti-inflammatory properties, but you're going to see results pretty quickly. I literally in my RV, I've literally had people coming in and working with their skin being so red and seeing that result. Now, I don't know if you'll see that result quickly that like I have, but I have seen that result quickly. So listen, I'm excited. Like you said, Kim, every skin type can use this. This is not.
Sorry, go ahead, Vina.
No, go ahead.
Based off what you said, the other thing with the results is to be consistent. You know, you want results. It goes along with the 28-day challenge, but also is stick with it twice a day. I'm telling you, you will see results.
Yeah, consistency is key.
But go ahead, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay. That's absolutely right. But even a one-time usage, I've seen, especially with my clients that have the inflammation in their skin, the redness in their skin, I've seen amazing results. And so it's really something that you could have someone even try and use, and they're going to see that result. And so far it's been 100%. So I love that every skin type can use it, and it should play easy with whatever skin type you have. You can use. I know I've seen a huge difference in my skin. I literally, every client, every person I talk to, oh yeah, you need this and you need this and you need this, because it has shown such a huge difference. And same with me, I have oily skin, but when I put it on, my face feels like it's firming. And the way that I'm going to age is with lack of elasticity. So I love that it's working with that as well. So yeah, I love it. You guys, this is a home run.
That's awesome. Anita, I know. So Anita's usually on our beauty lounge and she recaps notes. She's an esthetician as well. And you seem like you're really into science. So I'm curious if you have anything you want to.
Yeah, I have a question for Dr. D. This came up in our training yesterday, and it was by me because I'm very big on ingredients. And it has to do with some of the skincare lines are incorporating carrageenan, which when they internally take it can create some gut sensitivity issues. Now I know
Yes, if you take a lot of it, that's true.
Yeah, I mean, there are some people out there that have seafood allergies and, things of that nature. Now, I have been taught that topically there is quite a lot of lines incorporating seaweed-based ingredients. And correct me if I'm wrong, it's not the same protein that is what you ingest, isn't it? They're two different proteins.
They're not.
Right.
What matters with carrageenan,
I think you can just touch on that because, some people might be asking, well, if I'm allergic to seaweed or seafood, can I put this on topically on my skin?
Right. So one of the things that, so I want to say that is that the protein actually isn't different, but one of the things that's worth noting is if the protein's actually there, because red seaweed is what carrageenan comes from, and how it's processed is actually what makes it problematic or not problematic. So this is actually true for omega-3 fatty acids as well. You can have an alkaline process, which is exactly what is used, or you can have a more acidic or alcohol-based extraction. And that damages the carrageenan, the natural structure, the saccharide or the natural gelatinous structure of the seaweed. We're going to come back to allergy in a moment, but that actually damages that. And that wouldn't be the nature of what you want, that acidic alcohol extraction in a skincare product, because we're relying on its plumpness, right? We want to hold on to that gel phoresis nature of it. We want to hold on to that. So it's an alkaline processing so that we can hold on to the gel, kind of the structure of it. When it comes to concerns with seafood allergies, what most people are allergic to, of course, is iodine, right? Most seafood allergies is an issue with iodine. And so, Anita, what I am going to confirm, because I can't confirm it right now, and I wouldn't be so daring to just make this statement, will confirm from looking at a certificate of analysis that there's no iodine in the product, which would be my first concern with a seafood allergy. Then going into the protein would not be assimilated in the same way for us to have that concern. Now I don't want to take anything away or delegitimize somebody's concern. If somebody has a gluten allergy and they can show that, that they've noticed that there's no gluten in here, but gluten's one of these that comes up a lot too, Anita, that topically that turns into a problem for them. They have this persistent subthreshold inflammation. And they said that was an issue with carrageenan. I don't want to delegitimize that. But nothing I've read, simply because of the amount that goes in here. Carrageenan is a problem when it's upwards of 15 grams, right? So I don't have any reason to believe, because of the very small amount that's in applications, that this would be a problem for someone. But I'm not arrogant enough to tell you that I won't make sure that there's not iodine as a part of its in a part of its gel extraction. We can make sure of that for you.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I know we're getting close to an hour here.
And I just wanted to say that I was drinking my isotonic astaxanthin during the broadcast, and it tastes amazing. So if you're wondering what the taste is like it is actually very good. It's not really sweet, just very pleasant.
Shelby,
Can I ask a quick question about how the astaxanthin gelée would help people who have the really deep down acne that's not on the surface? There's nothing to squeeze, but like the deep, really painful, like cystic acne?
So astaxanthin in and of itself is an anti-inflammatory. Whether you're using it orally or topically, the nature of it is it's very anti-inflammatory. So for cystic concerns, I have every reason to believe that there would be some relief. I'm going to tell you that I think that there may be some soothing benefits. Again, I used the word with Anita, this sub threshold but persistent inflammation. I have every reason to believe that you would see some benefit from that. I'm still going to talk about oral solutions. I'm not going to talk about detox in this case, even though the body may need to go through a detox. I'm actually more interested in finding out what is the hormonal trigger or the the otherwise internal trigger where this is a persistent concern. But one of the other things that's very neat about astaxanthin, both topically and orally, just simply because of its shape, is it has steroid-like activity. It has what's called steroidogenic or steroid-like activity. So steroids in the body can either be pro-inflammatory or anti-inflammatory. And this is a very, very potent anti-inflammatory because of the nature of that. So while I'm not saying it's a substitute for some of the topical steroids that are used for skin complaints, I do want you to know that its shape is very steroid-like.
Thank you. That's super helpful.
Excellent.
Well, thank you both. I know that I learned a lot from both of you, and we had some amazing questions, and I think that that really helped everybody with, when to apply it and what the benefits are. And if you haven't tried it yet, I encourage you to. I actually don't really like strong smells, and it's really not strong smell at all. So if you're kind of wondering that too. And you know what? Just share with us and everybody else on our social media, like when you start using it, what you're noticing and why you love it. And we would love to keep hearing from all of you. But thank you both for taking time out tonight to be here with all of us.
Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
Absolutely. You guys, I can't stop touching my hands because I put the Renewal. I'm sitting here and I was like, they think I'm like an evil. I'm an evil witch over here, but I just can't stop touching my
Well, you just keep doing that. You're gonna have great hands.
But thanks for joining us. There's so many questions. Y'all are going down rabbit holes with other products. So tonight we just wanted to cover the 2 Renewal products because there's so much science behind them. As you can see, we talked for an hour about them. They're incredible. But if you want to learn more about other products, we have these beauty lounges every Monday night, and we do switch up the products. And of course, you can attend a skincare one-to-one training as well. But thank you again, Dr. Dee and Kim, so much.
Thank
and
you
our
guys
for being with us.
Have a good night.
Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, everybody.
Thanks. Bye.